bring in our justice reporter, Paula Reed. She joins me now from Washington. Paula, what can you tell us about this letter, about the investigation? And now the reports are that the FBI seized electronic devices belonging to former Congressman Anthony Weiner and his wife, Huma Abedin. What do you know?
Vlad, we've confirmed that this investigation into Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server has been reopened after investigators in a separate case received or seized devices during their investigation into Anthony Weiner and whether or not he was allegedly sexting with an underage girl. Now, they seized those devices in order to determine whether or not he was indeed communicating and what he was communicating. But on those devices, apparently, they also found emails that are related to Hillary Clinton's use of a private server. Now, these phones apparently belong to both Huma Abedin and her husband, Anthony Weiner. And as Comey informed Congress today, they are reviewing these emails. Vlad, the best case scenario for Secretary Clinton and Huma Abedin is that these are work-related emails, something that was related to the server, that are not classified, but should have been turned over to the FBI. The worst case scenario is that these emails contain some sort of classified information that would have not only not been turned over to the FBI, but also been in the hands of someone outside that circle, namely Anthony Weiner.
And I want to just share with our viewers, this is an old tweet from Donald Trump that we've unearthed. This is Donald Trump tweeting back in August of 2015, so a little more than a year ago. In that tweet, he says it came out that Huma Abedin knows all about Hillary's private illegal emails. Huma's PR husband, Anthony Weiner, will tell the world. So that's dovetailing what you're saying, Paula, which is clearly that if the former Congressman Anthony Weiner had access or was able to see some of these emails that were perhaps classified, that may be a problem for Hillary Clinton.
That would be a huge problem for Hillary Clinton, because that would be the first instance here in this case where they would potentially have found someone mishandled classified information. If we take it all the way back about a year and a half ago, the reason for this investigation is when they found out that she chose to use a private server, there were concerns that she or anyone else who passed information through that server may have mishandled classified information. But back in July, the FBI director came out and he said that he had not found sufficient evidence to charge anyone, not Secretary Clinton nor anyone else who was involved in the use of that server, with mishandling classified information. So it was just shocking today to see the FBI director send out this letter and say that they are effectively reopening this investigation. And what they're going to do, Vlad, specifically, is they're going to look at these emails and they're going to evaluate whether or not they contain classified information.
Paula, let me ask you this. The language that Director Comey uses in this email, we've been talking to Democrats, Republicans. It's very vague for people trying to discern exactly what they're doing. Now, I'm not saying that the FBI has to tell the American people everything and divulge all of what they're doing when it comes to their investigations. But something so soon like this, so soon to an election, 11 days from now, I wonder if there's a sense that perhaps the FBI needs to be a little bit more transparent and explain what it is that they're doing, why it is that they chose to release this information at this critical time. Or do you think, just given your experience in dealing with the Justice Department, that this is sort of wishful thinking?
Nothing about this case and the way it's been handled has been business as usual, but there's never been a case like this. From the time that FBI director came out and held a press conference announcing that there were no charges, Vlad, that's not a thing that the Department of Justice or the FBI are in the habit of doing, to come out and announce, hey, we're not charging someone. They either charge them and file documents, or they don't. So that press conference was unprecedented, and it was followed by a series of other unprecedented steps. First of all, they released their investigative summaries, called 302s. They released what the investigators presented to the FBI, to more senior people at the FBI, summaries of their evidence, summaries of their investigative work. They also released summaries of interviews. Now, they were redacted, but those interviews included their interview with Huma Abedin and Secretary Clinton. Vlad, in no case does the FBI release evidence in an instance where they did not bring charges. And now the motive may have been to be more transparent, to show the American people in this extremely contentious, controversial, very much misunderstood case what they saw, how they came to this decision. But really, the result was also giving a lot of fodder to her adversaries. Everyone was calling on the FBI to reopen the case and to once again look at the information that they had already looked at. It's really just created more controversy around this case, even more than the FBI director coming out and saying he's not charging anyone. So here again today, they're trying to be transparent, but by releasing a very vague letter, people didn't at first, now we're getting a better idea, didn't at first know what are these emails, who do they belong to, where did they come from, what is this other case? But now, of course, we're getting more answers. Of course, doesn't make the case any less controversial, contentious, or confusing to know that there were emails on a BlackBerry owned by not only Huma Abedin, but also Anthony Weiner that were somehow connected to her server.
Yeah, that's going to be, I think, the question, Paul, and that's what's going to be confusing for a lot of people, which is that Hillary Clinton, by setting up this private email server, inadvertently, or not her inadvertently, but Huma Abedin inadvertently might have shared information just through the use of her BlackBerry. For example, if Hillary Clinton emailed Huma Abedin something, and then she somehow, in a chain of emails, emailed her husband, that may be what they're looking at, and that goes back to what we've been saying all along, which is that this decision by Secretary Clinton to have this private email server was just absolutely a disastrous, a bad decision to make.
2 points there. I mean, certainly her decision to use a private server, I mean, it's a Lawyer Full Employment Act. In addition to this criminal investigation, there were almost 50 civil lawsuits, many of which are going to point to this. They're going to want to know what's on those devices. They're going to file new documents with the court demanding they too have access to whatever was on those devices in response to their lawsuits, civil lawsuits having to do with her private server. But on the criminal case that the FBI has just reopened, on that point, Huma Abedin didn't necessarily need to share anything with her husband, anything that related to her server. It's just a fact that it was on one of these devices, that it may or may not have been turned over during the FBI investigation. That in and of itself is enough to reopen the investigation and determine whether or not classified information was mishandled. Anthony Weiner never needs to have laid eyes or anything else on these emails. It's just the fact that they're there, and the FBI was not aware of them during its previous investigation.
Paula Reed providing us some much-needed clarity on a very complicated situation here. Paula, we thank you so much. Appreciate it.